How's it going, guys? Welcome to my first Dying Light video. It might be my last as well. Please ignore the loud bird chirping in the background. Now I know some of you guys might be wondering, hey man, I thought you was the Far Cry guy. What is this nonsense? Well, for the past 2 weeks, I had like the worst cold. My throat hurt and my voice went away, so I couldn't make any videos. So I decided to play this game, seeing how I was like one out of the only 3 people in the world that actually enjoyed Dead Island. In this video, I give my thoughts about Dying Light, and no, this is not a review. I'm just going to talk about what I like and dislike about the game. It's going to be a very simple, like, sort of list, so I do apologize if you don't find this to be too in-depth. So, what I like. Production value. This game is actually quite polished. If any of you guys played Dead Island, you guys might remember the game being kind of wonky. Almost like the game was made by the group of students that were fresh out of college. At the time, the game felt like a C-grade game you can play and enjoy, but only if you ignore the glitches and the bugs the game had. Now with Dying Light, the guys over at Techland have really stepped up. This game is a proper B-grade game. It's not AAA, but it's not like terrible. With production levels similar to those games like Saints Row or Spec Ops: The Line. Speaking of things being polished, the parkour in this game is really solid. You can hold on to almost every ledge, and if you think you can jump, climb, or get somewhere, you probably can. I never thought that platforming could work on a first-person game, but it does. All you have to do is look down and aim at things properly. The game is very forgiving at times when I thought I was going to miss a jump, but I didn't. One place the game isn't forgiving is the combat. That's a good thing. If you make a mistake and die, you will pay for it by losing survival points, which go to your survival tree. That directly affects the damage your player inflicts. At first, fighting 5 little zombies would be a heart-stopping challenge. You need to use all the tricks in the book just to survive, like hitting them from above or using a smart hit-and-run tactic. The main antagonist, Rice, has some Rice, and his name sounds like Rice, but it's pronounced Rais, like R-A-I-S. Anyways, he has some goons that compete with you for care packages, and sometimes you stumble into them while completing missions, who at first are very challenging. They avoid your attacks and give you a hard time, but as you progress in the game, both the humans and the zombie enemies become easy to kill. The simple zombies die from like 2 hits, and the humans, well, you can sneak up to them and throw a Molotov, which makes things a lot easier. Don't think the game becomes a cakewalk. As you play, it just changes and you change your tactics as well. It throws harder enemies, some that are really irritating and some that are just dumb to fight against. But it always changes the pace of the game and the way you have to think, which makes the game very interesting and you don't get bored as often. Lastly, I'm going to talk about the day and night cycle. When the sun first comes up, zombies are easier, slower, and dumber. You won't run into any fast infected, mostly slow, stumbling ones, but as the day goes on and it gets darker, any noise you make will make virals come out, which are fast zombies that closely resemble humans. Once night comes down, you get a warning telling you to go and hide. If you don't hide, you're going to run into volatiles. Those guys are the fastest, strongest enemies in the game. They will catch up to you and beat you down. The good thing about staying outside at night is that you get sweet XP boost, and when you die, you don't lose any XP. What to dislike about the game, or something that you could consider to be a bad thing? The story. Well, the story is not terrible, it is only generic. You're a generic main character that talks to mainly generic characters, and the bad guy is very lame, and tries to act like crazy like he's Voss from Far Cry, but it's not that interesting. It might not be the story's fault, but the cutscenes and animations are kind of boring to look at. Unlike the animations in the game, like when you're running and doing parkour. On a good note, most of the side quests are pretty good and have some interesting characters that are a blast to interact with. Another bad thing is the weapon variety. While the game does have a lot of weapons, most of them are just same things with different colors on the name that tell you the rarity of the weapon. It is one of those things where the game gives you 10 identical metal pipes instead of 2 different pipes with different models and attributes. Or in other words, it's quantity over quality. Lastly, one of the things that did bother me about the game is the ending. Imagine playing a game where you level up and learn a lot of new tricks only to have the ending, the boss fight, be a 4-button quick time event. It's lame. You go through this really cool running sequence where all the zombies follow you and you need to be quick and do some really cool parkour, only to reach the bad guy and have a lame quick time fight. It reminded me of Shadow of Mordor, where you have some sweet boss fights only to have a lame quick time event at the end of the game. Well, that's it for this video. After playing the game for a really long time, I would just say that Techland have really outdone themselves, and I think their next game will be even better. Aside from the terrible ending, this game is really well worth the full price. It is full of content and the gameplay is really fun. After all, isn't the gameplay the defining reason for playing games? please leave a comment below and leave a like if you guys enjoyed this video. Peace.